Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into the new turnaround playbook laid out by UnitedHealth Group's CEO. He's got a pretty clear plan to get this healthcare giant back on track, and we're going to break down exactly what that looks like.
I mean, that's a huge question, right? And it's one UnitedHealth Group is facing head-on. When you're one of the absolute biggest names in healthcare, any kind of underperformance, well, it sends ripples through the whole industry. So now its leadership is stepping up with a really detailed plan for a major course correction.
Okay, so first things first, a reset. For a company this big, the first step in any turnaround is probably the hardest. It's that public admission that, hey, the way we're doing things isn't working. And the CEO's remarks started right there, with a really frank acknowledgement that things had to change. So how are they going to do that? Well, they're bringing in new leaders, fresh perspectives, really trying to get to the root of the problem. You can see in the quote here, the focus isn't just on some cosmetic fixes. We're talking about a fundamental overhaul of the parts of the business that just aren't performing.
And this quote, wow, it just captures the mindset perfectly. This is not some slow 5-year review. The CEO made it super clear that a keen sense of urgency is driving this thing through the entire company, from the very top all the way down.
So what is the actual plan? This is really the core of the whole strategy. The CEO laid out this fascinating two-speed approach, which basically recognizes that you just can't fix a business this massive with some one-size-fits-all solution.
And this slide, it just breaks down that two-speed plan perfectly. So on the left, you've got the fast lane. That's UnitedHealthcare, the insurance side of the business. Their immediate focus is on a repricing, which is basically adjusting the prices on their insurance plans to quickly boost their financial margins, and they're targeting 2026 for that. Then on the right, you've got the steady lane. That's Optum, the part of the company that provides healthcare services and tech. For them, it's all about long-term investment and refocusing, with the real goal of seeing the big payoff in 2027 and even further down the road. And a huge piece of that long-term plan for Optum is getting back to its original mission, value-based care. So what does that actually mean? Well, think of it this way. Instead of paying doctors for the number of tests and procedures they do, this model pays them for keeping patients healthy, for good outcomes. It's a really fundamental shift from quantity to quality, and it's absolutely central to where Optum is headed.
But of course, this whole turnaround isn't happening in a bubble. The CEO is very, very clear that the company's trying to do all this while navigating some pretty significant external challenges. He specifically called out a couple of major headwinds. First, ongoing government Medicare cuts that are hitting the entire industry. We're talking about almost $50 billion. And second, some serious funding pressures on Medicaid programs. The crucial thing to get here is that these are powerful forces completely outside the company's control, which makes their internal turnaround effort that much harder.
So with those huge external pressures, you might expect a pretty cautious tone, right? But what's really interesting is that instead, the message from the CEO was one of clear, unwavering confidence in their own plan. He directly countered those headwinds with this really strong statement, and it shows that their confidence isn't just wishful thinking. They believe their own internal actions, things like being more disciplined, operational rigor, and just smarter pricing, are powerful enough to overcome those external pressures.
All right, so let's talk about the future. How does all this actually translate into a concrete path to growth? Because this plan isn't just about surviving the next year. It's really about setting the stage for long-term success.
And the plan is very carefully staged. You can see it on this timeline. The first big goal is to get back to solid earnings growth in 2026. From there, the strategy is to hit the accelerator in 2027, with the big prize being a return to sustainable, double-digit growth in the years that follow.
So how do they get there? Well, it all boils down to these 3 guiding disciplines. To put it simply, number 1, get the basics right. Number 2, only invest in things that actually align with that long-term vision. And number 3, and this is probably the hardest one for a huge company, be disciplined enough to cut projects or businesses that don't fit, even if they're making money right now.
So, when you zoom out, this entire turnaround effort is really being framed as part of a much larger mission. This isn't just about improving the bottom line. It's about reestablishing the company as an innovative leader that's really helping to shape the future of the entire healthcare industry.
So there you have it. The strategy is all laid out. Acknowledge the problems, run with a two-speed plan for both immediate and long-term gains, and follow a multi-year path back to serious growth. But, a plan is one thing. Execution is something else entirely. with some major headwinds and a pretty complex strategy to manage. The next few years are going to be the ultimate test of whether this healthcare giant can actually pull off this ambitious course correction.